It's been an entire year since news broke about Morphe shutting down their stores and filing for bankruptcy. The news seemed to come out of nowhere, and even their own employees were left knowing nothing. Stores were marked down up to 90% off, and one by one they shut down, leaving thousands of employees without jobs with next to no notice. We now know Morphe had one day of notice. We now know Morphe wants to take their brand in a different direction by leaving influencers and focusing more on building up their own products. But this has not really been happening. Morphe has still been working with influencers. They have just switched the type of influencer they work with. In fact, prior to their bankruptcy, it seems like they were trying their hardest to tap into a new audience, and Mikayla actually has something to do with it. It's a mess, so let's get into it. When news of bankruptcy broke, a lot of people were shocked because only a few short years ago, Morphe was everything. Every influencer had a code, every beauty guru had a collab, and their products were staples in a lot of people's collection. And it was all thanks to the business model. They had influencers, and influencers were the backbone of their company. And it's kind of ironic that the thing that made them also ruined them. I feel like Morphe was one of the first companies to realize the commercial power that influencers had. And they took a chance on, well, pretty much all of them, since Morphe created such a good relationship with these influencers. And by relationship, I mean they were paying them good. Influencers shield Morphe more than any brand out there, and that's what made them into the billion-dollar brand that they once were. Unfortunately for them, that was also their downfall when their men players started to get into drama and go through all these cancellations. It put them into a really bad position. Customers were demanding that they drop the problematic influencers. But those problematic influencers were the reason that they were so successful. It was a bad position to be in, and that was what started the downfall of Morphe. But luckily for Morphe, this was around a time where a new platform was on the rise. TikTok was a whole new world, and just like they did years ago with YouTube creators, they got in quick with a new generation of TikTokers. They decided to branch off with a new brand called Morphe too. They hired Charli D'Amelio and Dixie D'Amelio to be the face of the brand, which was supposed to be a more light, clean girl makeup for a younger generation. In theory, this could have been a great idea. This is when Charli and Dixie were both at the height of their careers, and I think Morphe had really high hopes for this new line and the new generation of influencers to be their next ticket to success. How is that working out for them? Well, I mean, I don't really hear much about it anymore, and it never really seemed to take off in the first place. I think they assumed that since Charli and Dixie were the top creators on TikTok, those kinds of numbers would automatically transfer over into sales for them. But what they failed to realize was Charli's audience during this time seemed to be more interested in slime. Obviously, this plan was not saving Morphe because they still ended up filing for bankruptcy last year. And they wanted to do a whole rebrand and come out with some really strong standalone products, but that's not what happened. Despite claiming that they wanted to move away from influencers, they ran right back to influencers, just a different kind of influencer. They decided to team up with one of the top beauty creators on TikTok, Meredith the Experry, and they came out with an entire collection with her. Does not exactly seem like focusing on building their brand on their own, now does it? But nonetheless, a lot of fans were really happy for Meredith. She had her picture on a billboard in New York City, and she was really grateful for the collab. Clearly, Morphe did not actually want to stay away from influencers. They just wanted to follow the money and tap into a new audience. That made sense. The beauty community on TikTok was growing so fast. Now, Morphe actually commented on Mikayla's video saying that no one gives a damn about them and exposing how much they wanted to give her for a collab. And I'm not a Morphe fan, but I also feel like Mikayla did not have the best intentions behind revealing her turning down this collab and saying how much money they offered her. Mikayla has been accused of essentially selling out, taking sponsorships from brands or products that she does not even like, not disclosing anything properly and lying about the results. I think this was her way of trying to make herself seem more trustworthy. Beauty creators on TikTok seems to be where the money is that I never thought for a second. Their plan of focusing on Morphe products and taking a break from influencers would ever work out, and I think Morphe knows that as well. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think about everything down below, and I'll see you next time. Bye!